points could be had. Is blocked there by the Scotties. It's going to be picked up and returned. Here comes Dominic Williams. He's at the 40-yard line, on the sideline, down to the 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Scotties!
Something in the air just above me. Something like a dream state. You call it a clean break. Do you feel the vibes, baby? Do you feel the vibes?
Nice fight there. The hammer shot laid down. Orozco brings out the radar gun and reels back the kill. And Clayt's another tattooing shot that time there. Wow, reels back, fires out of the cannon. Kearns dropping back to pass. He's got his man in the flat. It's going to be caught by Brown down to the 5. Leapfrogs and into the end zone. Touchdown! Scotties! Brown does his best leapfrog impression, jumping over the defender and actually landing on top of him in the end zone.
Do you feel it? Do you feel the vibe?
Welcome to Scottie Sports Talk. Catch up on the latest in Highland Community College sports as we chat with coaches and student athletes. Let's talk Scottie Sports. Now, here's your host and voice of the Scotties, Mike Smith.
And welcome in tonight here to Scottie Sports Talk, our second edition of the year. We're going to chat some football, cross country, and volleyball tonight. And as you can see, my first guest already joining us here this evening, Mike Smith with you here on Scottie Sports Talk on the Scottie Sports Network. But head coach Aaron Arnold of the Highland Community College football team, now 2-2 on the season, 1-2 in Jayhawk Conference play. Coach, hadn't had a game, of course, this past week, another bye week for you, but coming off of a tough road loss, 13-10 in double overtime to Hutchison, and a game that both offenses struggled in the matchup, and the defense for you kept you guys in the ball game. You got a game-tying drive there at the end of regulation that got the game-tying field goal to send it to OT. But what do you take away from that ball game there on the road?
Oh, it's tough to when you look back at that game. I mean, defensively we were so good. They played such a good game, and they took everything away from Hutch, and then on the flip side, offensively we were that bad. And I think it was statistically probably the worst game we've played on offense since I've been here, and certainly in the last 2 years. And so it's frustrating. That's a game we had opportunities to win, and we just couldn't quite get it done. But we got 2 weeks off and some time to come back and get to work, and we just have to keep getting better and trying to fix the things that hurt us throughout the game.
Let's talk about that defense, though. I mean, that defense is leading the Jayhawk Conference in points per game and yards per game given up. And the guys, stood tall in the red zone multiple times, and they missed some field goals, so kept you right in there. And even with the field goal made, still had an opportunity late in the contest. And several guys were flying all over the ball. I mean, the secondary played well. Trey Barrett came back and he led the team in tackles in that ball game, but got to the quarterback a little bit, and all around the defense is kind of made big plays so far this year.
Yeah, there's a lot of good players over there, and Trey's one of them. Trey does a good job, and it really hurt us the 2 weeks that we didn't have Trey, and you could immediately see the difference when he was back and got Rico back. To get those two guys, two of our best players back on the field makes a big difference. Two of your best players aren't playing, and you feel it. So to have those guys back was really good, and the defense did a great job on Saturday.
Offensively, of course, mentioned the struggles. Actually, I think doubled the amount of yardage you had on just the last drive to get into a scoring opportunity, and you got the field goal to get to overtime, and ultimately didn't go your way. But you sent multiple different looks. I mean, Kyle played quarterback, Tristan played quarterback, Xavier played quarterback a little bit too. Best wishes to him as he continues to recover from his injury, by the way. But you just kind of had some different things. I know you probably were just trying to throw out there and see what stuck. Kind of seemed like.
It was definitely a struggle. We just didn't really make plays. You go back and you watch the film, and we had opportunities where we miss a block and it would have been a 15-yard gain, and instead we gained 2, or we have a wide open receiver and we drop a ball, or quarterback makes a bad decision and throws the wrong receiver, and we just across the board 11 guys didn't play very well, and there's a lot of stuff from that game film that we need to go back and get fixed.
Another bye week, of course, for you. Last time you had a bye week, you said it was one of the best that you had, and hopefully this same scenario here. But a lot of things to probably work on. Do you feel the guys maybe saw what they needed to see in that game tape and maybe kind of hopefully registered in their heads?
I think the Hutch game was an eye-opener for our guys on offense. I hope it was. I think we had some guys who thought they were pretty good and they could go out there and play half speed and be competitive, and I think that they got their eyes opened up. When you go play against great teams, you have to know what you're doing. You have to know what your job is. You have to be able to go out and go do it and do it hard. And I think some guys who maybe thought they were a little bit better than they were got their eyes opened up by Hutch. And Hutch is a really good football team, but that's what we're going to play every single week. So we did have a good bye week again. Our guys worked hard and got better, and I think we're ready to go play again this week.
I know one thing that you always kind of told me in our conversations here on Scottie Sports Talk and getting ready for the games and stuff is finish opportunities and finishing throughout the course of the game on whether it just be a single play or the game itself. And obviously that's going to be crucial moving forward, especially this week against a really tough Butler team that's coming off a loss for themselves and going to be hungry to try to come here and get the better of you.
Butler doesn't lose very many games, and they don't lose 2 in a row very often. I think they'll be pretty fired up to play a game. And the thing about Butler, I mean, they are as well coached of a football team as we will play. They'll play as hard as anybody that we play. They have absolutely no quit in them. I mean, they're going to go hard from the opening kickoff till the fourth quarter's over. They're going to lay it all out there on the field, and if you give them a chance to beat you, they will take it every single time. I mean, they're a really good football team, and that's kind of what they do.
You get some home cooking finally. It seems like you've been living on the road. 3 of the first 4 games on the road. You did have that one game against Garden City at home, but next couple here at home. So I'm sure that you're kind of excited about that. The guys probably excited to not have to make some long bus trips.
We're all excited to be back home. We've had our longest 3 road trips were our first 3 road trips. We've got those all out of the way, and we had some tough road trips. At Hutch is always tough. They're really good. And we're excited to get back home and play in front of our home crowd. We hope it'll be loud and rowdy, and we can get some help from our fans and get some good energy. And it's always good to be back home.
Coach, thanks for taking the time to join us on our second edition of the Scottie Sports Talk here on Scottie Sports Network. We'll chat some football with a couple of players from the defensive back capacity. Dom Williams and Isaiah Gray will join us coming up next here on Scottie Sports Talk.
I chose to come to Highland Community College because of the affordability. With my scholarship, I'll be graduating debt-free. But the best part is, I'm getting the same college experience as a lot of my friends who go to 4-year universities.
Highland Community College. Enroll today at highlandcc.edu.
Probably know how to do that already.
Welcome back on Scottie Sports Network here on the Scottie Sports Talk, second edition of the year. Mike Smith, of course, with you, now joined by a couple of football players, of course, down to the defensive back capacity, Dominic Williams and Isaiah Gray. Guys, thanks for taking the time to join us. Guys, of course, you're 2-2 now on the season, and most recently playing Hutch, had the bye week the last week, but defensively, the defense has been playing pretty strong, ranking first in the Jayhawk Conference, 15 points per game given up. You guys rank first in yards per game. But what's been, as a couple of sophomores, guys back, what's been kind of maybe the message that you've been able to help, preach to the other guys to make you so successful defensively this year?
We just tell each other just stick together.
Everybody do their job. Everybody do what they're supposed to do and feed off of each other.
Sir.
You guys have been able to feed off of each other defensively, and the secondary has obviously been playing well. I mentioned Trey, when Coach was on, he had a big game against Hutch with 11 tackles. And how have you seen some of those guys surrounding you in the secondary, kind of be able to step up their game?
It's like a brotherhood in the secondary.
Yeah.
Then we got little DJ, the freshman. He came in versus the Dodge City, and he got 3 interceptions. I think he's high in the conference right now on that.
Yeah.
You're right. He is, I think, ranked first in the conference. 3 interceptions maybe on the year, or
Right,
maybe
got 3.
he might have 4. I'm not sure. But he's up there, that's for sure. Like you said, being a little bit of a ball hawk out there, it seems like. And you guys have been able to break up quite a bit of passes yourselves, of course, and kind of lock down those defenders. But the defensive line up front, kind of maybe playing pretty well too. I mean, those guys seem to be pretty hungry and getting to the quarterback pretty well. You see those guys, putting in the work?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they rush their quarterback. They make our job easy.
Yeah, the ball come out way faster.
Yeah, of course, that'll allow you guys to make some big plays out in that backfield. But what, flipping on to the other side of the field, I know the offense has had some struggles so far this year, but, as a defensive guy, what do you tell your teammates on the other side of the ball to keep their confidence up?
We just tell them to keep their head up, keep going.
Eventually, it's going to work. Something got to work.
Yeah, it's going to work out.
Been battled a little bit as far as injuries too. A couple of guys on the defensive side or the offensive side of the ball there in that capacity. But overall, both with 70+ tackles in your career here at Highland, playing last year, pretty significant times, and you both rank in the top 10 in pass breakups so far this season as well. But I wanted to ask you, what kind of mentality does it take to be a defensive back? I mean, just to get into that situation.
You just got to have a big heart because everything get blamed on the defensive back at the end of the day.
I just feel like you got to think you're the best when you're on the field at all times.
Got to.
We got a good coach. We
Yep.
got to play good
We gotta-
regardless.
Yeah.
Got a great
That's gonna
coach.
play.
You are right. It does seem to be, obviously, when you watch the games on NFL and stuff, that the DBs get picked on with the blame a little bit too sometimes. So you got to wear that, and I'm sure you got to put it obviously in the rearview mirror if some play does happen against you.
Yes, sir.
Wanted to ask you too about being a defensive back. Watching the NFL, I'm sure you probably have a role model or two that play DB, and who do you kind of model your game after and watch highlights of?
I like Casey Hayward from the San Diego Chargers.
Mm-hmm. Any particular reason?
He's from my town.
There you go.
I like Joe Hayden. He play at the Steelers now. I just like the way he play, and he's sponsored by Jordan. He wears Jordan cleats. He got all the cleats.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I want to get to know you guys a little bit more, and of course, let the watchers here on Scottie Sports Talk get to know you a little bit more too in depth, and a little bit of taste there. Obviously, you seeing who's your favorite defensive back in the NFL, but I'll just stay with the NFL. What's your favorite NFL team?
I like Cheeseheads. I like cheese.
I like Green Bay right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Green Bay.
Yo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't really got a favorite team. I
You-
just like players and Randall
Okay.
Cobb from Knoxville. So I like
Okay.
them.
Nice.
Yeah.
I can understand that. So you're more of a rooting for the players types of guys
Right.
than a team per se. All right. All right. When you get prepared for the games, when you're getting ready, obviously pregame rituals. A lot of guys have those types of things. You got any go-to song that you listen to, or any unique pregame ritual that you dial up before a game?
YFN and Lucci. I like Lucci.
That's my favorite rapper too.
Yeah.
Made for it. Favorite song.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. All right. So you guys are obviously going with the music route for pregame stuff, but if you were to pick a song for karaoke wise, what would you pick?
If I was doing karaoke,
Or would you even do karaoke?
I'll
You
probably
got-
do Meek Mill, Dreams and Nightmares.
All
I
right.
think I know all of them words.
that would be key. That would be key.
Yeah.
Is there?
It's kind of hard.
Probably,
Yeah.
Probably some Gucci.
Yeah, probably some
Probably some
Gucci.
Gucci. All right. All right. And I always ask too the student athletes that we've had on so far, kind of what is their favorite thing about Highland. I mean, I'll ask you a two-part question. What's your favorite thing about being here and playing football? But then what's your favorite part about being here on campus?
My favorite part about playing football, coming from like a city where I grew up at, it's like a humbling experience because I'm not really here. So we got to play football and go to class. Then my favorite part about the town is probably football.
That's my favorite part about the town is football too.
Yeah.
And like why I like football because I just see that's the way.
I think it brings us together more as
Yeah.
a team because all we got to do is be together. Outside of football, we all still together.
It brings
Yeah.
So
family.
build that
Yup.
brotherhood together a little bit.
You mentioned something I wanted to kind of ask you about. I know I said I'd get you out on that question, but something that you kind of mentioned, Dom, was you came from a bigger town, obviously, than Highland is.
Right.
And so a little bit of a different experience coming here. And how has maybe that, changed you for the better, moving forward, having, being in a small town? And I guess you might have already answered the question, but I guess the family atmosphere probably is a big thing that you've learned from that.
Right, yeah, just being around nothing really just brings us closer to everybody else.
Well, guys, thanks for taking the time. I hope you have some success against Butler coming up on Saturday. Of course, that matchup is going to be a tough one for you. And before we let you go, I'll ask you about the matchup. What do you think Butler's going to present for obstacles for you?
I think they're just gonna try to beat us deep a couple times when they catch us in press man.
Yeah.
Just gonna do what we gotta do.
Yeah.
Win the game.
Get those, get an interception for you guys for the first one on the year.
Yup.
There you go.
Yup.
All right, guys. Well, Dominic Williams and Isaiah Gray joining us to chat some football. Highland Community College football team 2-2 on the season, and they take on Butler coming up this Saturday. We'll have it on Scottie Sports Network, so stay tuned for that. We continue with Scottie Sports Talk. Coming up, we'll talk some cross country. Head coach Chad Clevenger will join us in just a moment.
I work hard for what I want, for what I need to be better. Paying for college shouldn't be such a struggle just because I'm coming from another state.
It doesn't have to be. At Highland Community College, out-of-state students pay the same as in-state students.
And I can become whoever I want to be at a fraction of the cost of a university.
Discover an affordable technical or transfer education here at Highland Community College.
Welcome back here on Scottie Sports Talk. Mike Smith still with you here, and we'll chat some cross country now as head coach Chad Clevenger joins me and one of his runners as well, Juliet Rios. And Coach, we'll start off with you. Of course, since we last talked, really only one competition that your runners have competed in. That was at Emporia State. The men finished 7th out of 18 teams, women 7th as well out of 14 teams. But just talk about the meet and how you thought the gals and guys performed.
Well, on the women's side, we decided, we really wanted to focus on what's happening this weekend. And so we decided to turn that into a little tempo workout. And what we did is we matched our top girl with our 5th girl, our 2nd girl with our 6th, and 3rd with our 7th, and so on, and turned it into a little bit of a workout. And so we kind of trained through that meet, and we kind of looked at it and said, okay, there's 3 big meets that we want to compete at and be on, and that was Missouri Southern, Fort Hays, and our national meet. So I was really happy with how that meet turned out. On the women's side, we got out in one piece. That was the main goal there. The guys, we treated that a little bit differently, and we were a little bit more competitive there. We kind of backed off with the women, and the guys, we kind of went after it. And it was 92 degrees with a 97-degree feel. So the whole idea was, let's get this race, let's get a good workout into today, but let's make sure we come out in one piece so we can be ready for Hays.
You mentioned last time that you thought the progression was maybe ahead of schedule, both ways, men and women's side of things. And look at the rankings, getting some national recognition, 14th for the women in the nation and 18th, I believe, for the men. And do you still feel that that progression is being made? Obviously, it sounds like a lot of things that you wanted to do with the Emporia State Invitational, came to fruition.
Oh, absolutely, and I think we're right on task. We're where we want to be. We knew that after Missouri Southern, we were going to have about 2 weeks of we're going to have a little bit of soreness. It's that kind of high point mileage of the season was last week, and so we really felt like we were going to be a little banged up, and that's why we kind of backed off at Emporia, and we wanted to make sure we were ready for Hays. So we're right on pace with where we want to be. We went through the aches and pains this past week like we should have, and we'll be fresh and ready to go on Saturday.
Juliet, you finished 77th at Emporia State, but Coach was telling me that you've had pretty good improvement from last year as far as your overall time. And how do you feel that you've made progression so far through the first few meets of the season?
I feel like I came in as like a completely different runner this year. I've overcame a lot of stuff that I had issues with last year, as in like mental toughness and worrying about others rather than myself. And so this year I threw that away and kind of just focused on me and like worked hard every day. Did like the little things like drinking more water, eating better, and stuff like that. So that's given me a lot of progress. And I mean, I dropped 2 minutes since last year, and so that just keeps me going, Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, and 2 minutes. I mean, that's obviously a significant chunk to drop off your time. And you mentioned kind of obviously maybe some changes in your diet and drinking more water and such. And I know maybe some people that might not be as familiar with what it takes to be a cross-country runner, might not know the actual like regiments that you have to go through. But can you maybe talk about like what you do as a runner to kind of get yourself prepared and diets and things like that?
Well, first I used to have a bad habit of going to sleep late, and so I figured that like feeling fatigue and stuff like that had to do with sleeping. So my sleeping schedule changed. I study earlier. I study before, like a couple of days before a hard workout, because I wouldn't want to do it the night before. And so as in my dieting, I eat more because I used to be afraid of like gaining weight. And but then I kind of like learned like, okay, I need to eat because I'm burning off that food. So that's why I would get tired. I would have headaches and just that helped me out a lot. Yeah.
Oh, you taught me some different stuff about that. I mean, I wouldn't have known that kind of stuff as well. But I wanted to ask you too about Coach and like what has he meant to you, obviously, as a coach to help you obviously make the progression that you've made. I mean, we mentioned already 2 minutes shaved off your time from last year to this year, and what has Coach been able to kind of maybe pinpoint to you to make that success come to fruition?
It was kind of. I had like a step back, like outdoor season last year, where it was just me training for the 5K outdoor, where he had treated me exactly the same as if it was just a whole team. So when we had workouts, like he'll push me, he will keep up with my splits, he help out with my stretching and stuff like that. So I carried that on with my cross country season as well. So it taught me a little bit more of leadership as well, since I was by myself. So I was like, okay, girls, we have to stretch, we have to do this, like the splits and stuff like that. So. He's helped me out with my personal stuff as well. He'll be like my counselor. He'll stay talking with me for hours, even though he really doesn't need to. He's just been like my family here. Like I'm away from home 17 hours, and he's just been an amazing person to me. He means a lot to me.
So. Coach, I can can attest to the work ethic of your runners. I saw them running the other night when I was here for the volleyball, and then I went to see baseball, and they were all together working hard. And it seems like you've got a great team chemistry overall on both sides. And I mean, things have come there, and they continue to push each other. And Juliet kind of just attested to that.
Yeah, one of the things that we always preach every day is doing the little things, and a lot of things that you don't see. You see everybody, sweating and falling over and all those other things, but the things that we have to do behind the scenes, and sleep, ice, water, all those things that you don't get to see, the eating and the importance of those things. And so we keep preaching those things, so we do things the right way so we can be our best when we get ready to race. And so I think we got a really good atmosphere, and we try to tell them, I moved out here from Michigan, and so we get what that move is, and we know what it means to move from somewhere into a small town, and what we need to be for these athletes. And so we get that, and we want to make sure that they feel comfortable here. We want to make sure that they have something that they can believe in, and of course we want to set them up for success.
Coming up, of course, you guys are back in action on Saturday. We'll talk about that in a moment. But Juliet, I wanted to kind of maybe give everybody a chance to get to know you a little bit more, and I wanted to ask you a few, just different questions. I asked, some fellow runners of yours if they had any unique, abilities or anything like that. Now, Ivana and Zacharias didn't say they had any, but do you have any unique talents?
Actually a very hard question. I'm actually a very good drawer. Yeah, nice. That's something I've taken for granted because there's people that don't even know how to draw a stick figure. But I'm very very good at drawing. I've done it all my life. I just don't have time for it. But I've always been top of my art class in high school, and that's just something I'm very good at. Yeah.
Cool. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite holiday?
I like Halloween.
Yeah. So coming up, yeah. Got any cool costumes that you wore over the years?
I'm going to jump in for a second. She shows up at my house last year about 9 o'clock, and she's dressed as the Purge character, and standing outside my house with a baseball bat hitting her hand right outside my house. So she does enjoy Halloween.
That's good.
We put the whole car with lights, and we put the siren on.
They did the whole thing. Oh, yep. Yep.
Nice.
So I can attest to the Halloween light.
Yeah, that's my best costume.
There you go. Yeah, that sounded like an elaborate thing drawn out that time to get to coach a little bit. And when you run, I know a lot of runners. Some of them like to obviously run in silence, but do you like any particular songs that you got on your iPod that you listen to?
I have a playlist that's a running playlist. And the first one I play, I really like kind of DJ mixes with a lot of common songs. I really like Khaled, and there's a song called Silence, and it's by Marshmello, and it's just a really good beat to it, and I kind of just
helps you kind of maybe feel the beat while you're
running? I picture myself in a music video, and I'm just running slow motion. I'm just okay, I feel this. I like the atmosphere.
Well, that's cool. Nice. Well, I'll get you guys out of here on this. I mentioned obviously that you're going to be in action on Saturday at Fort Hays, and Coach, anything particular that obviously is the key focus going into this one? I know you mentioned Emporia State was a certain thing you wanted to see executed. But this time around, coming up on Saturday?
This time we really want to let it out. We got a lot of region schools there and a lot of Jayhawk schools there that we really want to see where we stack against some of them that we haven't seen. And so I think this is going to be a great opportunity for us to get competitive. It's a big meet. It's also, they have 2 different meets there, and they also have a university division where we have some of the top especially Division II programs in the country that are duking it out. And so it gives us an opportunity to watch how they operate and kind of observe a little bit and see what these kids can look forward to at that next level too.
All right. Well, thanks for taking the time to join us here for our second edition of the Scottie Sports Talk. Head coach Chad Clevenger of the cross country team and one of his runners, Juliet Rios. We'll chat some volleyball when we return. Head coach John Bingesser going to be our next guest here on Scottie Sports Talk.
At Highland Community College, we believe hands-on courses are the key to your success. Enroll today at highlandcc.edu. What could you accomplish in as little as 9 months? What if out-of-state students paid the same tuition as in-state students? At Highland Community College, we believe hands-on courses are the key to your success. Enroll today at highlandcc.edu.
Welcome back here on Scottie Sports Talk. Mike Smith now joined by volleyball head coach John Bingesser, and a tale of two people that have quite different hair. As head coach John Bingesser letting his hair down tonight with us here as we chat some volleyball. But 19-5 record for you and the gals, of course. 4-1 in Jayhawk Conference play, and most recently in action at the Panther Invite at Neosho, and got a little bit of avenging a loss there against Northeastern Oklahoma A&M. A little bit of a mouthful, but you get them in 3 sets. You win 2 others in 3 sets there, and you played Coffeyville a little bit better this time around than the first time around, it seemed like, from what I gathered at least. But we'll just talk about that. The Panther Invite, how do you think the girls played in that?
We had a lot of fun this weekend. The first day was a nice day. We took care of Southeast, and that's a team that you just never know with them. The expectation is obviously a 3-0 sweep, but sometimes Southeast can step it up and take a set or two from some good teams, and we didn't allow that to happen. And in fact, we thumped them pretty good. Took care of Allen again. Then the next day, our focus was on Coffeyville. We wanted to get them, and we changed our plan against them, and we talked about it. In fact, we literally drew it up on the chalkboard in the locker room saying, this is what we're going to do against them, and if we execute, it will work. First set, we did it. It was awesome, and I think we kind of surprised ourselves a little bit, because we put literally everything we had into that first set and beat them easily, 25-17, and then Coffeyville, being the team that they are, said, we're not letting that happen again, and they made some adjustments, and we just weren't able to maintain that high-level energy that we needed to take the match. But to see that it's there, and to see where and what we need to do to be at that level and to beat teams at that level, it was really good to see. And then, like you said, that the revenge match against Ineo was how it should have been the first time we played them. So,
good deal. And I know we talked about it after the Coffeyville game. That was the Jayhawk Conference showdown, and it sounds like obviously you took what you learned from that matchup and translated it obviously to this time around, and I'm going to take some learning experiences from this one too. And if you do indeed see them down the road again, in postseason play perhaps, but also just to adapt, because you've still got some big matchups. Cali obviously being one that's a really good team as well, and that'll be the final regular season game for you and the gals at home. But it sounds like there's a lot of learning experiences from those 2 Coffeyville ball games that the gals can just build upon.
Oh yeah, for sure. And our conference schedule is kind of misleading, because we had some of the, I wouldn't say the easier teams, but we had some teams that we were expected to handle early on. And now in the next 4 weeks, that's when we got the nitty-gritties of the conference. We already got Coffeyville out of the way. They're pretty much set to go number 1 now. They've taken care of Cali. They've taken care of us. So we're really fighting still for that second district. And we know that it's going to take a big win on Wednesday, a big win next Wednesday, and then just a continuation from there. Hopefully our plan, and this is how we're hoping it's going to go, and is that it comes down to us and Cali at the end of this season, our last home game, to see who's going to host that last district. And I think we have the right mentality. And like you said, after playing the Coffeyville twice, I think we know what it's going to take to make that goal a reality.
the games you mentioned, of course, coming up against Fort Scott on the road this Wednesday, and then on the 11th at Neosho as well, both Jayhawk Conference matchups, and there's a tournament sandwiched in there as well in Iowa as well. But you took down Labette and Allen County as well in the Jayhawk Conference play since we've last talked. But I wanted to kind of ask you about players maybe individually, and we mentioned it last time on Scottie Sports Talk how it seemed like there were a lot of contributions from every different facet. I mean, even the girls that haven't played, a significant portion, they came in and had long stretches. I mean, Sydney Prine had a really good stretch for you. And then recently, I thought Carrie Fisher's obviously played really well and come in. And then you've had your staples, obviously, that have been there from the entirety part of the season, too. But just talk about how much you've seen contributions from everybody on the team.
I'm actually glad you mentioned that because we literally just talked about that today. Actually, I had a coach this weekend tell me, hey John, you guys are doing good. You've got the big three, and I wanted to look at them and say, we've got more than the big three. We've got the big four, the big five, the big six, and I really think we do because we've got some staples in there that are in, but the ones that are coming in, no. Hey, when I go in, this is my job. I got to take care of my job. We kind of stole football's idea from last year. They said, do your job, and we like that idea a lot. And, we really believe that if each individual takes care of themselves on the floor and their position, then the team aspect will come together and it'll flow like a well-oiled machine. And the players that are coming in, Carrie for sure she's sneaky. I mean, she's got kind of a different style of swing to where it's not going to be one that's a bouncer, but it's going to be one that goes off your block out of bounds. And sometimes those are harder to defend, and they're also more frustrating on the defense. And so to see her step up, especially as our missing outside, has been really rewarding. Again, Kirsten in the libero position is just really coming into her own. Coy has been really stepping it up too. I mean, not just offensively, but defensively. I think this weekend there were 2 matches where she had double-digit digs, which wasn't the case a few weeks ago. So they know what they need to do and what their improvements are. And for me to see that as a coach, it makes me really happy and excited for our upcoming matches.
Well, Coach, best of luck in your coming matches against Fort Scott coming up on Wednesday, and then again in the tournament coming up on this weekend too. And you mentioned a couple of gals that we're going to have on coming up here next on Scottie Sports Talk. Koya Roscoe and Kirsten Johnson coming in just a bit. We'll chat some more football or some more volleyball. We can chat some football with them too if they want to, but we'll do that, of course, when we come back here on Scottie Sports Talk. Welcome back to Scottie Sports Talk, our final segment of the night for our second edition of the year. Mike Smith still chatting with you here about Highland sports, and now joined by a pair of volleyball players, Koya Roscoe and Kirsten Johnson. Gals, first off, congratulations on the successful season so far, 19-5. But we'll just start kind of where we let you guys left off with the Panther Invitational, 3-1, and tournaments have been really successful for you, 3-1 or 4-0 on this season. But you got Coffeyville getting that opportunity there, and you also had the 3 wins go in 3 straight sets. It seems like a lot of things are going pretty well, especially with team chemistry. Would you say that, of course?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. I think we're definitely coming together now that it's getting later in the season, like learning how to work, not only doing your job, but like helping out, making your teammates perform to their best ability as well. And I think that's a big part of our team is that we can do that for each other, and we're big supporters of each other.
I agree. I feel like the entire team is just like it's not starting to click, but since we've been clicking since July, but it's becoming more of like we're all together, like we're all on, and it's becoming more of a together thing.
Yeah. Cohesive unit, maybe, I guess would be a good way to put it. But Coach mentioned the fact, that obviously a lot of the teams on the outside will obviously see Leslie and Z's stats and stuff, but you guys are right there with them. I mean, in the top rankings in some different categories in the Jayhawk Conference. Cole, you're ranked 15th, in the Jayhawk Conference in total blocks, and Kirsten, you're ranked 10th in digs overall. So, I mean, it's just right there that you've been able to contribute and get things in. And Kirsten, I know, as a freshman, obviously you came in and took over the libero position, and that's not an easy job to do. I mean, and didn't know some of these other players, but how did you feel that kind of you slipped into that role and have been able to take it on so far this year?
Well, I have never been a libero before, so that was kind of a new change for me. But I've always been a person that I want to help contribute to a team in the way that I feel like I'm needed. And I felt like I definitely was needed in that position, and I've been happy to take on the role and help my team out in that aspect.
And Coy, on the flip side, obviously you were here last year, so you come back with some experience. Yeah. And so obviously you can help some of the other freshmen kind of know what Coach Bingesser wants to do, and how have you been able to take that leadership role on and kind of help some of your teammates along?
Right. I like being able to be a leader, I guess I could say, on the court as being a right side, like for future incoming freshmen, like to be able to look at me like recruits coming to games, seeing how we are and how we do things on the court. It's a nice feeling, I guess I could say.
Coach brought it up too, the importance obviously of the rest of the conference games, especially, and not to discount the tournaments, but the conference games obviously having a little bit more of importance upon them. But obviously, you want to be where playing your best volleyball, obviously at the end of the season, and set yourself up to host district matchups and such. And any new point of information or kind of new thing that Coach has maybe pinpointed that he wants you to focus on moving forward?
Definitely cut out outside distractions, as he told us today at practice, and like the mentality of that we want to be at nationals, we want to win, we want to be the top of our conference, we want to be right there with Coffeyville. So
I agree with Kirsten. Like it's mainly like cutting out outside distractions and focusing on your game, like who we are as a team, like who do we want to be? Like we want to be up there, we want to be the best, we want to be up there with Coffeyville, and we want to excel to be the best team that we can be.
Well, we want to get the watchers here on Scottie Sports Talk a little bit get to know you type of situation. So as you've seen, I've asked other student athletes questions just about them and what they like and such. But I was going to ask you about your teammates a little bit too. Before I ask you about yourself, I kind of wanted to ask about the team in general. So who would you say on the team is the funniest gal?
I would say Hannah. I think Hannah's just very bubbly and funny. Like her laugh honestly just makes me laugh because she laughs for no reason. Like you'll be like, "Hey, what's your name?" and she'll just crack up.
And Lexi Schwam. She's hilarious.
Lexi's very funny.
She's very quiet, but she's very when she's out there, she's funny. You gotta pull her out of it though.
All right. A couple girls I'm familiar with covering in the area.
Yeah.
So, who's the messiest of your team?
I don't know.
Based on Coach out onto the left.
It's me. I'll say it. It's me. I'm such a messy person.
Yeah. Coy, your room is sometimes pretty messy.
It's pretty bad. It's bad. I'm sorry.
I know a lot of people have pregame rituals they get going, and I'll ask you for yours in just a bit, but does any of the girls on the team have this just weird pregame ritual that they get ready for the game to do?
I mean, we all kind of just listen to the same music. Like, someone will play music on their phone. We're all, like, getting ready. And, like there's always a weird song someone wants to listen to. And
Yeah.
it's just like, okay.
I think along with the music, too, before every game, we hold up the Nationals book that when they won the other,
in like
I don't even know what
1970s.
year it was, but it's kind of cool to like have that and like want to reach that goal because they did it back then, you know?
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So we always do that before every game. We hold it up together and break it down.
These next two will probably be pretty funny. Who's the highest maintenance on the team?
Highest maintenance.
I don't know. Maybe? I'm not sure.
I wouldn't say anyone's that high maintenance.
Well,
I
that's
don't
good.
know.
Yeah,
I
no
think,
one-
Pretty low key then.
Yeah,
it's
everyone's
kinda-
pretty
everyone's
chill.
about the same.
Nice. Then I'll ask this one. I don't have Snapchat. Tyler thinks I should get Snapchat.
You should
for
get
some
Snapchat.
reason.
Definitely should get Snapchat.
I'm a Twitter guy. You know, I'm on Twitter a lot, as many know. But who has the longest Snapchat stories of the girls on the team?
Probably Carrie.
Carrie.
Yeah, Carrie likes to post on Snapchat.
She's
She's
always
very
on
funny
Snapchat.
on Snapchat though. Like it's good Snapchats. Like it makes my day when I watch them. So.
Like this morning, I was going through Carrie's story. It took me about maybe 5 minutes. maybe
Yeah.
5. Just clicking through it. I was like, oh gosh.
They're good though. They're funny.
No, yes, very funny.
See, I don't know if I would have any good stories. I mean, I could be funny, but I don't know.
Well, then you can have Snapchat.
Well, maybe we'll
Yeah.
have to. For future shows, we'll dive in. So just so everyone knows, you can mark it on the calendar for next time. But I wanted to ask you a kind of more personal question and a serious one. This one is, what's your proudest moment? I guess you can maybe put it in volleyball context, but or take it wherever. But what's your proudest moment?
Oh man.
It's not an easy question.
No.
I would say mine personally, like with my volleyball career, is like getting to go to nationals, both my 16s and 17s year. That was pretty cool for me, just because like it's a very like eye-opening experience. Like you get to see people from all around the nation, and it's honestly like awesome to meet people. Like we played like a team from Puerto Rico, and like just things like that. Like it was just awesome to see that, and awesome to get there and like actually do good and play teams that like make you want to be that player, make you want to work harder. That was just cool to me.
Yeah, like, I think I'm just like proud of excelling as a player individually and like being like getting better every day and like just I don't know, like I mean
that's a good answer right there.
I
That's
mean
a good
I've hit a
answer.
couple people in the face. I think that's a good thing. I'm pretty proud of that.
Hey, I will say those are some of the best calls that I get to make when you
Yeah.
nice
I mean,
little
I love
tattooing
it.
shots.
It's like it's a good feeling, I guess. I don't know. I'm proud of myself.
Yeah. It might sound a little weird, but I know what you mean. Yeah. You made a good play and things like that.
Yeah.
At the detriment of your opponent, perhaps. But
Yeah. Well,
you know,
she was there.
Yeah, exactly.
She just happened to be there.
Any big motivating factors for you? I don't know. Keep it volleyball. Seems.
Honestly, the biggest thing that's motivating me right now is my family. Like they push me to be who I am every day. Like I talk to my dad every day about volleyball, and he's so proud of me. My mom's so proud, and I just want to keep them proud. And I'm getting better every day. And I want to go on and be someone in volleyball and make them proud. And that's what I want to do. Like they're my biggest like motivation right now is my family, and my parents.
I can agree with that. I want to like make my parents proud, and like both my parents have played sports. My dad is a coach. Like it's awesome to like make him feel proud of me along with my mom and like the rest of my family. And another big motivator right now to me is like we want to get like that like bid to nationals. We want to win. We want to host a district here because they haven't done that like ever. And so that's like a big motivator to me is like to push me better as a player too, like improving myself in my position. That's motivating me too. Like the other girls in my conference that are ahead of me, when I see they get digs, that makes me want to get like 10 more than them. So kind of like, I don't know, everything right now is just motivating and to get to that point. So.
All right. Well, I was planning on doing a mascot game with the boys earlier, but do we got time, Tyler? We got time? If you ladies are willing, I was gonna ask the boys, mascots of college, athletics.
Okay.
And see, and just a friendly competition between the two to see who can come up top. And I have to hide the list because it's
Darn.
so I'm doing it because I forgot to ask the boys earlier. when we had Isaiah and Dom on, but I'll start off with some easy ones. We'll go with the Big 12, and Coy, I'll start with you. Oklahoma.
I don't know.
Can I say it?
Yeah, well, I'll give you the steal.
Sooners.
Correct.
Oh, what?
Kirsten,
Never
1
heard
point. All right. Kirsten, this is your question. We'll stay in the Big 12, and we'll go with Texas.
Longhorns.
Correct. So, Coy, you're down.
That was easy one.
2-0.
That was an easy one.
Big 12's
Oklahoma's
not-
easy.
Yeah, that's not hard.
Okay.
They're a good team.
Okay.
All right. Coy, back to you. We're going to go.
God.
We're going to go to the Big 10, and we'll stick close.
Okay.
Nebraska.
Cornhuskers.
All right.
Good one.
What do you mean?
Yeah. It's my team.
Now we go with out of the Big 10, Michigan.
Oh gosh. Does it start with P?
Does not
I don't
start
know.
with
Okay,
a P.
you go. I don't know.
For the steal. As everyone is
Don't
showing a potential answer.
Wait, what was it again?
Michigan.
I don't know. I really don't.
All right, Wolverines for time capacity.
Oh,
It started
okay.
with P.
Okay.
I was right.
Score update: 2-1. Kirsten in the lead.
Yeah.
ACC. Who am I on? Coy, that's your turn. We'll go with Clemson. It's not a hard one. It's a pretty simple mascot. So if you just guess.
Nope. No guesses. I have
No
nothing.
guess.
I know it has a paw. Is it tiger?
All right, Kirsten for the steal.
Tigers?
Tigers is correct.
What?
I knew it had a paw just from the
3-1.
blind side.
Kristen, if you can get this one, you are the
win.
winner. We'll go with Virginia Tech.
Oh my gosh. I don't know.
Oh, God.
Virginia Tech. Yeah, this is a pass. Don't cheat.
Coy, for the steal.
I don't know.
The Hokies. That's not an easy one.
Yeah, that's not easy.
Not an easy one. I had some really tough ones. Here, I'll just see if you know these. Tulane.
Never even heard of that.
Nope.
Does anyone know Tulane? No, I don't think.
Really?
Point off screen to head coach
I
for cross
applaud
country,
you,
Chad
Lucas.
Clevenger. So, I won't throw any more out for sake of time purposes, but Kirsten wins tonight the mascot challenge. We'll have some different types of games coming up, in the weeks to come, but we'll also have Scottie Sports Talk in 2 weeks' time again. So definitely stay tuned on the Scottie Sports Network. We've got plenty of games coming up on the horizon too. So come out and check out the football team this Saturday, as they will host Butler for the next matchup. And then the weekend after that, they will host Independence and softball. That's right, fall softball going on. The Lady Scotties will be in action coming up on Sunday, so you can check out the Lady Scotties in softball capacity. Volleyball gals, not going to be at home for quite some time, but best of luck moving forward for the next games. Fort Scott coming up on Wednesday. And thanks for taking the time, to join me here on Scottie Sports Talk and making us all laugh as well here tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks to my man Tyler Nordman behind the camera and the producer for us here this evening. All the guests as well, and everybody take time to watch us here on Scottie Sports Network for Scottie Sports Talk. We'll be back in 2 weeks.